Hello and welcome to the second channel of Tales from the Trip. I'm your host, the Trip Keeper, and this is going to be a very first on this channel. We are doing our very first award show. This is called the Darwin Awards, and this guy is going to be receiving it. Yes, this is an inhalant story about huffing poison. This is what the Reddit post says. I was going to put this on my main channel, but it's not long enough to, but you know, I like to have my videos at least 10 minutes long. So let's get right into this because I want you guys to read this. Well, I'm gonna be reading it. Alright folks, gather round yonder as I tell you a tale of how I killed off my brain cells by at least a few powers of 10. At least he knows what powers of 10 means. There I was at midnight, pacing my kitchen while I racked my brain for ways to get high. I was fiending so badly I would have drank my dog's spit if I thought it was even remotely psychoactive. Now that's something, that's a trip report story right there. Long story short, real drugs were out of the equation since I lost my dealer's number months ago and I got clean. Pharmacies were closed and I had no liquor money. All of a sudden the thought hit me. Basement chemicals. Brilliant idea, self, I replied out loud. There's no fucking way he said brilliant idea, self. Ozzy's also going to be joining in, and it's raining outside. And so the story begins. I ventured down to the basement storage room in an epic search for anything at all, stamped use in a well-ventilated area. Bleach? No. Drano? Also no. Paint remover? Bingo. I picked up that orange can of paint remover and stared at the sticker placed at the bottom of the label stamped with bold read lettering, warning, poison. It had a skull and crossbones below it. I am not joking, this was an old can of paint remover and it seriously had a skull and crossbones printed on the warning label. Perfect. I cracked that can open and placed my mouth over the opening, almost covering it completely, and I inhaled deeply. The fumes choked me. I coughed deeply as I felt my throat and lungs sting with a brutal burning sensation that made my eyes tear. I caught my breath and took another deep whiff. This guy loves to say fucking deep, doesn't he? This time it didn't hurt as bad since the first breath had numbed my airways. I kept huffing for a few more breaths and then all of a sudden my ears start pounding with the sound that a railroad makes when a train is approaching. You know, that really fast ding 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 ding, and my body felt as if it was floating. My vision pulsed back and forth and I thought to myself, yes. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, dude. So I took the can upstairs and I laid down on my bed and turned the lights off. Yes, I know this is pathetic. This was not a very proud moment for me. No fucking shit, it's not a proud moment for anybody. Not even for me, I'm fucking huffing poison reading this damn story. I took the deepest breath, there he goes with the deep. I took the deepest breath I possibly could of those fiery vapors. Once again I choked, I coughed, and I gasped as it ripped through my throat. I pushed through it. I kept on huffing and huffing and huffing and huffing. My room was spinning. I was seeing colors in the dark and I felt like my bed was melting. Pretty soon I started hearing voices along with the ringing in my ears. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but they were the voices of young children and they were very loud and they were accompanied by a zip, zoop kind of sound. Still, it wasn't enough, so I swirled the liquid around inside the can to get it rolling and producing more vapors, and I huffed and huffed, only stopping for a breath of clean air once every 10 breaths of vapor. I did this for minuets. He said minuets, not minutes. And he also, when he says since, he says sense. So, yeah. I did this for minutes. It grew more intense by the second. It got to the point where I was tripping really hard. I could see alien faces at the edge of my bed, and my body was so floaty that I could no longer hold onto the can. So I rested it onto my bed as I kept on huffing. Eventually, when I realized I wasn't getting any higher and my throat felt like it was bleeding, it wasn't. I laid back onto my pillow and tried to gather myself. Maybe your throat wasn't bleeding, but there's probably other shit that was bleeding, like your mind. After a few seconds, I reached down to the ground for the can, but it wasn't there. Datura, that's what it sounds like. So I turned on the lights to try and find it, but then I saw that it was just in my other hand already. Thank God the lid was on, or so it appeared. Yeah, that's definitely phantom cans, phantom poison. This is Datura, for sure. Datura, and you know, I did a poll saying on the other one, what's the relative of a Datura? of datura, and I put in tomato as the answer. Well, this poison is a relative of it now. I took another glance and saw that the lid was off, and it was lying on the ground next to my bed. Oh shit. I looked on my bed sheets and saw a few puddles of liquid where I'd spilled the powerful solvent without even noticing. Then my hands and arms started burning very badly where I'd come into contact with the solvent. It burned like a scalding piece of metal on my skin. Quickly, I inhaled some more of the fumes to take the pain away. It worked. This guy, look, I don't like to make fun of these people, man, but this guy is an idiot. For real, like, why would your arm's burning and you decide to inhale it some more? Shh, Ozzy, be quiet. Daddy's reading. Quickly, oh, I already said that. So I started huffing for a few more minutes, and then I put the cap on and set it down. As I did this, I smacked my arm on the side of the bed, and a crippling pain shot up through my nerves. It was a very intense, sharp pain. Not just ouch pain, but this is not good pain. It subsided. I picked up the can again for one last round. One more round? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I took one deep breath and then my whole body went cold. Very cold. It was like my blood had turned to ice and my body tingled as if my nerves were being poked all at once. I decided to push through this and take a few more huffs. As I did this, I felt my body become very warm. It was terrifying. My blood was now boiling and I could no longer hold onto the can, so I set it down. All I felt inside me was fear. Something felt very wrong, and in an instant it went back to feeling icy cold. It reminded me of the time I got cocky while shooting crack and shot an overdose. All you feel is frozen and scared with regret. I started breathing deeply, trying to keep conscious because I thought I was going to pass out. I felt my pulse to make sure it was going, and I just sat there and waited for it to pass. It took a minuet or two for that to wear off, but I felt very fucked up for the next half hour until I fell asleep. I felt like I was off some pills or something, but not in a good way. You probably wish you took pills. This morning I woke up feeling like I was several IQ points lower. You didn't have one to begin with. The best way to describe the feeling is, ugh. I feel super irritated. Every little thing sets me off and my brain felt very slowed down like there was bubblegum in my brain. I have work today, so I took some Vyvanse to get things rolling inside my head. It did work pretty well. If you had Vyvanse to begin with, why didn't you fucking take the Vyvanse? Why the fuck would... I feel somewhat normal now. Besides the irritation, I still feel foggy. The moral of this story is, just say no to inhalants. Just say, if you give people advice, do not even listen to this. I don't want you guys to do inhalants, but don't let this guy tell you that. Let me tell you that, because this guy, I don't even know, man. It's just like, what the fuck? He felt terrible, and then he continued to do it. Like, you would think once you start feeling bad, you're like, okay, maybe I should stop, or maybe you shouldn't even done it in the first place. I don't know. Side note, if you are wondering, well, okay, this is, he's talking about the Vyvanse. Side note, if you are wondering why I just didn't take the Vyvanse to get high instead of huffing chemicals, it's because Vyvanse doesn't give me any sort of buzz after being on it daily for 2 years. Alright, well, at least he explained himself. But you would have been much better off if you took the Vyvanse. Maybe you should have took like 5 of them, I don't know. Maybe not that much, don't do that. Please don't do that. Let's read this thread here with the comments. What the actual fuck? And then they said, I don't know. They deleted their username, so probably a good thing. Just buy nitrous or diethyl ether, please, or make chloroform. Fuck. I just did a video on ether on my main channel. Go check that out. Haha, yeah, man, no worries. I seriously don't plan on doing that again. I think I will just have an emergency cash stash, so if I'm ever in a pinch, I could just get drunk instead of commit brain cell genocide. LMAO. I'm surprised this guy can still type. You have a problem if you can't stand being sober one night and wait 12 hours or so to get high. I'm not denying I have a problem. If anything, this was me admitting how much of a problem I actually have. Didn't mean to be a dick if I came off that way. No, please be a dick. Just find other things to occupy your time. Go biking around, try to make new friends, read a book in a coffee shop or something. Just don't do crazy shit like that. I'm saying this because despite being some random person on the internet talking to you, I do care about your well-being as a human being, and you seem like a decent person. Seem like a decent person, but you gotta fucking talk some sense in these fucking people. You can't just so if a good person is like, hey, I'm gonna start doing heroin, you gonna let that good person continue to do it? No, you're not. You're going to tell them you're a fucking idiot and be like, listen, I love you, but stop that fucking shit. Don't ever fucking do that shit again. Sometimes you need to talk some sense into people. They seem like a decent person. It doesn't matter. Everyone seems like a decent person unless you're Hitler or Stalin or somebody. But other than that, you know, they can do fucking heroin. I don't care. I mean, I think he was Hitler. He was doing a bunch of drugs. He was doing like meth and shit. Dude, crazy. I'm actually going to do a video on something similar to that, so stay tuned for that. I just gotta fucking get an Adderall or something to get the deep dive type, because with deep dives, I can get, like, once I get started, I can go, but that's the problem. I just can't start. Like, with all that, like, my brain will go for, like, fucking 3 hours straight typing shit. So, yeah, that's the positive part about it, but I gotta get started. Anyways, if you enjoyed this fucking story, which I kind of did not, because it's just an SMH the whole fucking way through, just give it a like, you know. Don't do inhalants. 2 inhalant videos in one day, one on this channel, one on my main channel. Like I said, the story's short, so I couldn't put it on my main. I don't really like when there's videos that are less than 10 minutes long. You gotta at least have 10 minutes. When I fall asleep to videos, I at least need a double-digit time period to fall asleep. So this video might do that for you too, but I don't know. This is more of the off-the-cuff type shit. So yeah, not gonna do this fucking editing shit that much still. It's only 12,000 subscribers. Not only 12,000 subscribers, that's a lot. But like, you know, unless it starts to get a whole bunch, then I might start paying more attention to this. But I haven't done a video in a while, so I thought I'd get one out. I was gonna do this on my main channel, like I said, so I wanted to get this out. And that last video I did, I was fucking drunk as fuck. I honestly don't even remember recording that. But I haven't had a drink since. That really took me over the edge. I was hungover as fuck the next day, dude. I slept until 12 p.m. And my whole life, latest I've ever slept was like 10:30. So even when I was a kid. So sleeping till 12 is like absurd. That never happens. And I was basically sleeping the whole day. I got up for like 3 hours. And my brain was just like, oh man, it was terrible. I wasted a whole fucking day on my long weekend from my long strenuous job, and I wasted a whole fucking day. Now you might be saying resting, yeah, it's good for your soul and mind, but it was suffering and it wasn't fun. I couldn't even eat anything. I felt like I was sick again. But I'm fully recovered though. I feel fine. Haven't had a drink since, like I said. That's almost a week ago. That was Thursday night. So yeah. Be almost a week, and I don't plan on it. Only time I'll plan on drinking now is when I go out with my friends or wherever the fuck, but I'm not gonna drink here at home ever, because it's not good for you, really not. All right, have a good one.